Hi, Martha. Iran was reportedly asking for a ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon as part of its requirements for some type of peace deal with the United States. Now that the president announced that 10-day ceasefire between Israel and Lebanon yesterday, moments ago, the foreign minister of Iran announced that the Strait of Hormuz, behind me in the distance in the Persian Gulf, is declared completely open for the remaining period of the ceasefire. So, things apparently on the upswing here in the Gulf. We can report here in the UAE, there's been about a week of calm now. No incoming missiles or drones from Iran after weeks and weeks of almost endless attacks coming from Iran. Also, the U.S. State Department ended its shelter-in-place order for U.S. government employees in this country. Obviously, the State Department urging people to still take shelter if needed. And then, of course, behind me in the Gulf, we're on day 5 now of the U.S. blockade that apparently has been going down without any reported incident or major confrontation. In fact, CENTCOM says at least 14 vessels have heeded the United States commands to either turn back to the ports of Iran or not violate their blockade. Now, the latest update from CENTCOM also says that they've been escorting people around the blockade, and here is some audio that the United States released.
Motor vessel Molly, this is Warship 112. We will be escorting you to your next port of call. Thank you for your cooperation. This is Warship 112, standing by at channel 16.
And yesterday, the president announced that 10-day ceasefire between Lebanon and Israel. In an update from Israel minutes ago, an official says the IDF remains in Lebanon to hold all the locations it has cleared and captured. The IDF writing, the goal we defined, the disarmament of Hezbollah through military or political means, was and remains the campaign's objective to which we are committed. Currently, significant political leverage has been created through the direct involvement of the U.S. president and a commitment to this goal while applying pressure to the Lebanese government. Now, here in the United Arab Emirates, the U.S. State Department lifted that shelter-in-place warning for U.S. government workers, and the UAE is declaring victory over Iran. An official writing here, yes, Iran lost, and yes, the UAE won. We were subjected to more than 2,800 Iranian missiles and drones, and we shot down 96% of them. The American role after this war will be greater. This Emirati and Gulf partnership with Washington came after long years of relations, mutual trust, and joint investments. Now, back live here on the Gulf, we are, of course, monitoring the potential for a second round of peace talks, perhaps in Pakistan this weekend. Yesterday, the president said that those negotiations could be happening in Pakistan, and he even said there's a possibility that he may head there. But we'll continue to see what happens, because now that Iran has apparently relinquished its self-proclaimed control over the Strait of Hormuz, perhaps these peace talks do not have to happen in Pakistan, but we are tracking it hour by hour, and we'll keep you updated. Martha, Bill.
Yeah, very interesting statement from the Dubai media office there. Thanks for sharing that with us, Matt Fenn.
Yeah, a lot of things popping by the hour. Just on the map over here, we just take you back to the Persian Gulf. This has been the area of the interest, really, for the entire world for the past 48 days. I want to show you this on the map now. These are the vessels in the Persian Gulf, all right? So in red, since the start of the war, these are the vessels that have been basically at a standstill in the Gulf, off the coast of Basra in Iraq, off the coast of Kuwait, many off of Saudi Arabia. Look how much they're bunched up around the United Arab Emirates. I mean, just so many of these ships have been stuck here. I want to swing over here and show you the impact of the U.S. blockade on Iranian ports. The blockade's only been in place for a couple of days, and right now you can argue this has been a success so far. This is Monday of this week, right? April 13th. This is Oman. Here is Iran, here is Pakistan, and here is the line that the U.S. Navy drew for all vessels coming in and out of Iranian ports. All these vessels in red, they made a stop at an Iranian port for something, and the blue ships are the Navy blockade out here in the Gulf of Oman. Also a bit later on the same day, on Monday, you saw more red ships come out this way. That means they stopped at an Iranian port for something. They were all turned back. That was on Monday. Then on Tuesday, a similar pattern. The red ships, the vessels coming across that blockade line. In total, by the end of the day on Tuesday, we had at least 14 vessels that have been stopped by the U.S. Navy. And that's where we stand right now, at a stalemate. Former CIA Station Chief Dan Hoffman joins us now. Dan, good morning to you. I want to get your reaction on the breaking news. How do you analyze what we're hearing out of Tehran now?
I think that statement about the Strait of Hormuz is a significant confidence-building measure. It's the first steps potentially for a framework whereby we dial down our military involvement and get to the stage where we can have real diplomatic negotiations. We've started that process, but the negotiations, I think, are going to be painstaking. I don't have any hope that there's going to be an immediate agreement, but there is the potential for the framework for an agreement, whereby we see free passage through the Strait of Hormuz and the corresponding impact on the global economy and our economy here at home.
Dan, you know, what do you think pushed us to this point? I mean, it's pretty clear that Iran has figured out, at least for one thing, as I see it, that they're choking off their own economy, that they have hurt themselves by trying to control the Strait of Hormuz, and that this blockade has been very successful in terms of isolating them.
Yeah, I think the blockade has been successful. I do think Iran has a high threshold for pain, especially when it comes to Iranian citizens. This regime obviously has no problem with violating their human rights and making their lives miserable. But what I think was hanging in the balance was a resumption of U.S. kinetic strikes. And what I think Iran really wants is a continuation of the ceasefire while negotiations carry on. I think that's what they really want. Now, the Trump administration delivered our own confidence-building measure by bringing Israel and Lebanon together for the first time in almost 50 years for a 10-day ceasefire, which was something that Iran wanted. So these are positive steps, but I think it's still tenuous. We need to see how transport actually happens today at the Strait of Hormuz, but there's reason for some guarded optimism right now.
There's no, just quickly, Dan, there's no indication that the movement has happened in terms of this uranium recovery or a promise from them to not enrich uranium or to continue this program over many years. Is there?
No, and look, Iran has said for 20 years that they don't want a nuclear program,
right. But
of course, behind the scenes, clandestinely, they pursued one. The concern we have, of course, is the disposition of the 1,000 pounds of uranium that they have. And not just nuclear enrichment, but centrifuges, for example. This is where the devil's in the details of an agreement. If Iran were able to develop their centrifuges and we had a time-based moratorium on nuclear enrichment, say 15 or 20 years, then when that expires, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon. I think that's what the president is concerned about, and that's why I don't think he wants to agree to any sort of a time-based deal.
Okay, you mentioned Lebanon. Let's focus on that for a moment here, because these two leaders, they could have a handshake at some point soon. We'll see on that. The president shot this out on True Social with regard to Hezbollah, acting in Lebanon for decades now. He said, "I hope Hezbollah acts nicely and well during this important period of time. It will be a great moment for them if they do. No more killing, must finally have peace. Thank you for your attention to this matter." Dan, do you believe in southern Lebanon, where Hezbollah has had such a presence, can the Lebanese army effectively patrol that part of the country? Or do you see the possibility that the Lebanese military goes to war with Hezbollah?
Yeah, so that's the key sticking point right there, Bill. I think Beirut and Tel Aviv, they would like to have an agreement. It's certainly possible that we could have diplomatic relations between Israel and Lebanon, and that would be a good thing. And it's building the capacity of the Lebanese armed forces. We've tried to do this for years, but we really need to dedicate ourselves, not just the United States, but with our European partners as well, so they can take the fight to Hezbollah. They should have a monopoly on the use of force in their own country. They should ensure that Iran does not use a terrorist proxy to inflict harm on other states like Israel. Right now, Israel has about a 6-mile swath of territory they're controlling in southern Lebanon. Prime Minister Netanyahu wants to carry on controlling that area. So, again, this one's going to require some continued diplomatic work going forward.
All right, Dan, great to have you on. Instant reaction
Thanks,
from Dan
Dan
Hoffman. Thank you. Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube, and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.